Right, we're going to keep the conversation going now and take a seat at the King's table. All right, the best part of the third hour of Wake Up America Weekend is the Kings who are joining us now. Former New York Congressman Peter King and former Georgia Congressman Jack Kingston. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us again. Congressman Kingston, we're going to kick it off with you. Well, speaking in Florida, President Trump said this.
An architect who's really talented. He's done a lot of work for him. He's got a flair, a beautiful Hispanic flair in particular. And he comes from originally a place called Cuba, which we will be taking over almost immediately. What we'll do, on the way back from Iran, we'll have one of our big, maybe the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, the biggest in the world. We'll have that come in, stop about 100 yards offshore, and they'll say, "Thank you very much, we give up."
All right, Congressman Kingston, they are some bold words there by the president. What do you actually see happening here?
Well, I think they're very bold, and I think it's frankly some productive rhetoric because Cuba has been a miserable country for decades now. I had the opportunity to visit it, and if you want to know what American travel looked like in the 1950s, go to Cuba. They are driving 1955 Chevrolets. It's a country that's impoverished. You have to stand in line to get your groceries. You get a certain writ that tells you how many groceries you can buy that week. They boast about full employment, but that includes bathroom attendants and people doing menial jobs. They need the capitalistic system. I think the Cuban people would be desperate to re-invite America back in there. And by the way, and speaking of the 1950s, that's when Cuba and America had decent relationships. And Cuba was a lot more prosperous than it is now. So I think it would be great to bring Cuba back into the Western atmosphere and the Western government.
Now, Congressman King, President Trump is already applying the pressure, and he's moved with global banking sanctions on Havana. The question is, what does it mean for everyday Americans if we fast forward and Donald Trump is successful and Cuba becomes an ally?
Well, first of all, it removes a real security threat from the Western Hemisphere. I mean, Cuba is not just a socialist country, not even just a communist country. The fact is, it's been used as a base of operations by the Soviets, by China, by Iran. The fact is that Cuba has worked against our interests, and it's not extremely dangerous, but certainly dangerous enough that it's something that we don't need in the Western Hemisphere. We can set up decent relations with Cuba with a democratic government, then this both enhances Cuba and the United States, and also is an economic well-being.
Yeah, let's move over to Europe now, gentlemen, because lawmakers are a little worried about President Trump wanting to withdraw those 5,000 U.S. troops from Germany. Both Senator Roger Wicker and Congressman Mike Rogers believe that reducing U.S. military will, quote, send the wrong signals. Now, it also comes as President Trump escalates his feud with German Chancellor Merz, who we just heard from there, that story with Logan, who says that Iran has humiliated the U.S. during this war. What do you make of the U.S. possibly downsizing its military presence in Germany, and what will it have for the relations between the two countries? I'm going to go to Congressman Kingston on that.
With nearly 36,000 troops there, if we reduce by 5,000, it's really not going to significantly change our military capabilities there. But what it will do is hurt Germany economically. Our troops support 10,000 direct jobs, that is Germans who work on the bases, and then 70,000 indirect jobs who sell to them, retail, who really depend on these for their economy. The impact to the GDP of Germany could be in the trillions. I think it's something like 4 trillion, and the economic impact regionally is in the billions. So it does get Germany's attention. And I think what Merz said was absolutely irresponsible. We should be united when it comes to the thuggery government of Iran. But instead, he seems to be siding with the enemy. So I think what he said was absolutely reckless for an ally and a world leader.
Congressman King, I want to ask you this question. Is this the step that we're taking to finally be out of NATO? And is that dangerous or positive?
To me, it's dangerous. I think NATO is a strong force against Russian expansion It's a source of unity for the Western alliance. Now, listen, you can be very frustrated with the European leaders, especially Germany over the years. France is another one. But the fact is, we have to be careful in what we do. Not that I care about that much about the German economy per se, but I do care what it means to our presence in Europe. And also, as we seem to be cutting back on support for Ukraine, this could send the wrong signal to Russia. So I understand the president sending a signal to Germany. I understand taking action, but I don't want to damage the NATO relationship overall. We can work with it, reform it, strengthen it. Because for 80 years, it has preserved peace in Europe with the leadership of the United States. Don't get me wrong. The fact is that we can do much better working together. And if President Trump wants to send a message to some of these European leaders, fine. But let's not